So I have here in my hand an empty box. Pretty exciting, huh? Aren't you glad you tuned in? Pretty exciting so far, thank you. We're going to look at this box again in a minute. Let's talk a little bit about science. In science, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. For example, the lights in this room that I'm in do not work by magic. They work by science. We've learned how to control electron flow through certain molecules. And when you run electricity through an incandescent light bulb, it produces a lot of light and a little bit of heat, heats up. If through a fluorescent tube bulb, it excites the gases, again producing a lot of light and a little bit of heat. But in the universe as a whole, nothing is gained or lost. Let's check this box again, excuse me. We'll just take a look inside, and drum roll please. Pretty exciting, huh? You like this high budget presentation? Okay, so there's still an empty box. There's nothing inside this box. We'll check it again in a couple minutes here. I'm going to put it where you can see it. I don't have something to weight it down. That would work, but I need to use that sometimes in my head there. Okay, so we know that, that something from nothing for no reason is inherently unscientific, correct? If we took this empty box and we put it up in an attic for 50 years, a cool, dry place, and just left it there, and let's assume for purposes of this experiment that there's no moths, no ants, no spiders, no rodents of any kind. 50 years later, we pull it down, we brush the dust off, excuse me, and we're going to open it up. Scientifically speaking, what will be inside this box? Nothing, right? It will still be an empty box. There will be air molecules and a little bit of humidity inside. What are the chances, scientifically speaking, that over the course of that 50 years, a little bang would have happened inside that box? Is that a scientific expectation? Or would that be a religious belief that a little bang could happen inside an empty box? In science, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Something from nothing for no reason is inherently unscientific, right? Is the Big Bang Theory, just like a little bang happening inside an empty box, is that a scientific theory, or is that actually a religious belief? There are between 200 to 400 billion stars in our galaxy alone, the Milky Way galaxy, and there are hundreds of billions of galaxies out there. Do you mean to tell me that this entire universe, with the trillions upon trillions of stars and the unbelievable complexity, the laws for light, for gravity, for inertia, for so many things, fell together by accident? I don't have enough faith to believe that. I don't have enough faith to believe there's no God. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Something from nothing for no reason is inherently unscientific. You see, folks, the Big Bang Theory is not a scientific theory, is it? We may have heard it all of our lives. For over 1,000 years, the scientists, starting with Greek scientists, Aristotelian science, and particularly Claudius Ptolemy of about 150 AD or 150 CE as they call it, taught that the rest of the universe revolves around the earth. The consensus of the scientists, in other words, the peer-reviewed beliefs of the scientists, was that the rest of the universe revolves around the earth. That was believed by over 1,000 years, but it wasn't true, was it? During the time of Galileo, Copernicus and Galileo, it was discovered or realized that the consensus of scientists were wrong. The Big Bang Theory is not a scientific theory. Think it through for yourself. Something from nothing for no reason is inherently unscientific. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Okay? Do you like the high-tech graphics here? Anyway, it works out. I'm asking you to think logically. Skip. The evolutionists have all the money. They've got all the government grants. They've got most of the schools, most of the media, and yet creation theory stands. There's thousands of creation websites out there, books, videos. Why? Well, because there's good evidence for creation. How can you be an atheist when you look at the universe around us? Okay. Now, let's move on to another point. We're trying to make this very quick here. And that is that the Bible tells us how everything got started. It doesn't give us the details, but it does say, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. We need wisdom, and it is logical to pray to God. The Bible says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. It gives liberally to all men. Wisdom is the principal thing the Bible tells us. We need wisdom. And it also says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Okay, in Genesis, it says that humans lived for over 900 years before the flood. We have a few of the people here and how long it says that they lived. Not months, but this is how many years they lived. Adam lived to 930. And there's several persons here. The person who lived the longest was Methuselah. So now, is there any scientific evidence that substantiates what it says in Genesis, that before the flood, people could live for over 900 years? As a matter of fact, there is. When we reach maturity in the modern era, by the time you're 20, when you're 40 years old, you're not taller than when you were 20 years old. If you live to 80 or 100, you still would not be taller than when you were 20. Your skeleton has stopped growing. In fact, you might actually be a little bit shorter. If theoretically you could live to 500, 700, or 900, you still would not be taller, because for mammals, which humans are part of mammals, we stop growing once we reach maturity. But some creatures keep growing their entire lifetime. So before the Great Flood, people could live for over 900 years. That's what the Bible says. If people live longer, probably other life forms live longer too. Some creatures keep growing their entire lifetimes. The longer they live, the bigger they grow. Excuse me. And so if we look in the fossil record, do we see any creatures that used to grow to be, say, 60 feet tall or long? That's about 18 meters, 18 or 20 meters. 80 feet, 100, 120, 150 feet long. The longest dinosaur found thus far is about 147 feet long. That is a creature that lived for a very long time. Dinosaurs are not evidence the Bible's not true. Dinosaurs, in other words, the dragons, are evidence that the Bible really is literally true. Could you use mouthwash once in a while, please? Whoa, hold on there, fella, hold on, fella. Okay, wait, right there's good. Hold on right there, fella. Okay, let's just wait here for a minute. So you see, dragons have been remembered, in other words, dinosaurs, all down through history and on all continents. The Chinese, their 12 years of the calendar, one of the years is the dragon. You've got the year of the rat, the monkey, the dog, the chicken. You got all these different animals. One of them is the dragon. The ancient Romans knew that there were dragons. The British, you have stories of people fighting the dragons. In Russia, in Africa, in the Americas, the American Indians, there were dragons. But humans, when we move into an area and when human populations grow, we kill the dangerous creatures, whether it's bears, wolves, snakes, or dragons. No offense there, fella. Dinosaurs are dragons. Look at this image from a wall in ancient Babylon. You can look this up yourself. Look at these reptilian features. The claws on the hind legs, this tail. Look at that tongue, the serpentine tongue. You can look this up. Humans have seen dinosaurs. In other words, dragons. Okay? Dragons are dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are dragons. Okay? We, all over in history, maybe you haven't heard this because your science classes are so censored from hearing science, but there's long-necked dinosaurs that have been shown on cylinder seals and on other things in many ancient cultures. Here's a medallion from Russia, from times, a man on horseback killing, what is that creature? Looks like kind of a dragon, reptilian creature, doesn't it? This other one is from the southwest U.S. Here's a dragon image, a dinosaur image from the southwest U.S. So I want to give you one more point, and then I want to encourage you to look at all of the information that's out there. There's a lot of information supporting creation theory. People have 10-hour, 12-hour seminars, and we win the debates. An informed creationist knows both theories. Evolutionists only know one theory. Okay, there's about 250 to 300 breeds of dogs in the world. There's all different kinds, all different sizes, okay? You've got Chihuahuas, Terriers, Great Danes, German Shepherds, all different kinds, all different sizes. Now, based on your experience with dogs, are the big dogs smarter than the small dogs? Just think about it for a moment. They aren't, are they? Some of the small dogs are smarter than some of the big dogs, aren't they? You might have a terrier or a beagle or another small dog that's smarter than, say, a big sheepdog, excuse me, or a German shepherd or another very large dog. A smaller dog has a smaller head, which means it has a smaller brain size. So just logically, and using common sense, we could theorize that among dogs alive today, brain size and intelligence is not necessarily linked. Right? Okay, now let's go from dogs to humans. So I'm a tall white guy, as you can see. I lived in Japan for 5 years. Japanese people tend to be smaller than Caucasian people. They have smaller frames, smaller heads. But I'll tell you what, based on my experience, there are some very smart Japanese people out there. And one other thing about brain size and head size, women tend to have smaller heads than men on average. Slightly smaller, but did you know there are some women who think that they are smarter than some men? What is up with that? Anyway, okay, so just logically, right? You're with me, right? Brain size and intelligence is not necessarily linked. Now, in our minds, let's go to an unnatural history museum. They call it natural history, but what they teach there is there's nothing natural about it. And they line up the fossil hominids, or what they claim this progression is, partly according to brain size. But maybe that's the wrong interpretation of the data. Maybe humans have always had a wide variety in brain size, just like we do today. There's people today who are over 8 feet tall, under 5 feet tall, with huge differences in the size of their frames, the size of their head. And as far as I know, there's no relation to intelligence. This is, according to the theory of evolution, they teach there's a progression. No, there's no progression. Just reinterpret the evidence scientifically. In other words, that brain size and intelligence aren't linked. Okay, we've made 3 main points with this, and we need to close. One is that the universe did not explode from something into nothing for no reason. That's unscientific. People can believe it if they want. This is my webpage, creationism.org. But no, it is logical to believe there's a God. And there's a lot, anyway, we have a lot of information here on creationism.org. Do your own research. Your soul's at stake. How many people will spend a weekend or multiple weekends looking for a new car, looking at a new house? Spend a couple hours, watch 1 or 2 of our videos right here, okay? Or take a look at our books. Here, I got to emphasize this. Pretty neat, huh? There it is, there it is. Okay, so take a look at some of our books. We have lots of articles. We have information in over 80 languages. God bless you. Thank you for watching.